Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Let me tell you a little secret. I'm pre-filming, which is the first time I'm doing this. And so I just changed my top so that like my thumbnails would look more diverse. But I just finished filming my hair video, so I thought it would be fun to I thought it'd be cool to do back to back. There is a girl on YouTube right now, and I don't remember her channel, but I'll put it down there. It's very cute. Love her channel. Who's talking about her low buy season of her life. And I think it's very interesting because I feel like as consumerism is kind of piping back down, and people are becoming more aware of what we buy and why we're buying and stuff like that, I think that it's a very interesting thing to be talking about and something that I want to consider doing my own version of. But before I talk about all of that, I do want to talk about how it's not about the things. And I think that this is something that came to mind when I was watching a video about a girl who was stacking box on box on box on box of PR that she had received. And I'm not going to talk about my feelings about PR or anything like that yet. I did sit down a couple weeks ago to film a video about products that I really liked, and I felt really weird. I don't think that that's the purpose of this channel, which is really weird because there are real, and maybe one day I will want to share those kinds of things, but right now it feels very strange. And so I was just kind of looking at all those boxes and I thought about how we perceive what is valuable, because as a viewer, someone who kind of likes her stuff, like her content and the type of content she makes, I can see the value in that, and a lot of other people couldn't see the value in that, would be like, I don't understand how those things are so expensive, or why she would want all of those things. And I think that what we watch plays a big role, who we are plays a big role, the things that we are attracted to. And I think that the things that we are attracted to comes from what we consume. But I have seen that there is kind of a crisis of seeing people who have everything and are still feeling very empty, still feeling very unfulfilled. And then on the other side of that, people who have nothing, you'll see people in the comments being like, dude, we're in a recession at this point, and coming across nice things is so hard, and I can barely pay for groceries, and they're not fulfilled in that way. And so I kind of just wanted to talk about my boy Maslow's hierarchy of needs, because as a psychology major, I feel like it all comes back to that. I'm just kidding. But I do think that there is a psychology around materialism and what we are trying to do to fill a hole that might not be fillable in the way that we think it should be. And so, I think it's very clear, if you are struggling to purchase groceries, you can clearly be like, yeah, I want that lip balm, but I would never spend that much money on it, or that is such not a necessary purchase. And so, the first thing on Maslow's hierarchy is physiological needs. So, this is things like food, water, and basics. And we are living in a society where, even though we are living in a first, quote unquote, first world country, if you're living in America, these things are becoming harder to come by. Groceries are very expensive, and it's kind of hard to put a good meal on the plate. And so a lot of people who are consuming content these days are looking to YouTube for an escape when their physiological needs are not being met. And the next thing, right above that, is safety, having a roof over your head and having an environment where you feel safe. And that is also kind of, as we can see in the news, it is feeling less and less safe. And so, those things being the base of the pyramid, it doesn't really matter where you live or where you are. When those needs are not being fulfilled, you perceive the world differently because you need those needs to be fulfilled. And it's really strange because it's kind of like, oh, I could feel safe, but I could also not have my physiological needs met. And so it kind of bumps you down, because are you safe if you don't have access to food and to water? And so you're at the bottom of the pyramid because you don't have the basics. But when you have those basics, the bare bones, I have food, water, and shelter, the next thing that comes after that is love and belonging. This is so important. And this is where I feel like there's a lot of disparity, because I think there are some people who have the basics but don't have love and belonging. There's some people who have the basics and have love and belonging, and there's some people who have the basics and even more so, but have skipped love and belonging and gone straight to self esteem. Self esteem is how you feel about yourself, it's self respect, it's confidence, respect from others. And especially in the influencer space, it's like there's an influx of recognition and achievement. But because you may not have love and belonging, true personal connections and community, you're still nothing that you do to fill up the esteem box can be filled up until you've filled up the one before that. So if we're looking at a pyramid and I'm building blocks, you can't put a block on nothing. It's going to just fall back down to the level that you are currently at. So if you have physiological needs, if you have safety needs, and you don't have any love and belonging, you're building a pyramid, but you're putting self-esteem blocks where love and belonging is supposed to be. And therefore, you're going to have a feeling of emptiness, like you're trying to fill a hole that can't be filled because you're filling it with the wrong thing. And I think that a lot of people are struggling with that because it's like, I'm trying to do all of these things to feel good about myself and to feel like I have confidence and respect and like all those things, but you need a community to build you up. And I think living in such an independent society for so long has taught us that community is very transactional when it really isn't. And I was talking to my boyfriend about this literally the other day, and I was like, the whole point of community, I feel like we're missing it because I was watching a Jubilee-esque type of episode, and this woman was talking about how she could not have children due to endometriosis. And she said she had friends. And when all her friends started having kids, they stopped inviting her to things because they were like, she doesn't have kids. And therefore, why would she want to hang out with us? Da, 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 da. You know, like, and this is very typical. But to me, community is not about, oh, we all have the same things or we all have this one thing in common. That's a club. Community is, I'm here for you and you're here for me. Community is, we don't have to have anything in common. I'm caring for you because you were a part of my space. And so I think that there is a huge risk in building community because of this transactional environment. And I think that we all crave community in some type of way. And so being very aware of those things, when it comes to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, his last one is self actualization. And this is where all of the creativity, personal growth, purpose driven action is able to like really build on itself. And in my own experience, I went through a phase where I did not have any friends except for my boyfriend. And I was really sad because I was like, even though I do feel loved from him and I do feel cared from, I have family, but they're not in college with me. I felt like I could not achieve, I could not build my esteem up. I felt really sad and like not self confident, and I could not be the creative person that I know that I can be because I didn't have those basic things, and nothing that I built on top of that could sustain because I didn't have the love and belonging that I craved to the level that I craved it. And once I gained a community of people who I love and care about and who love and care about me, like genuine friendships, those things became a lot more easy for me to be like, okay, like I can interact with this. I can grow in this direction because I have those things. And so I am talking to the people who feel like they need things. And I think that it's not about the things. I think that it's about the concepts. And I think that a lot of things can build your esteem and your self confidence. I think that things can aid in how I feel about myself, but they are not our foundation. And when I say that, I'm not talking about them physiological needs and those safety needs. Those things are like, okay, I need these things to like exist and survive. But I'm talking about anything additional to that. These are optional. And I think that being able to exist with the bare bones of nothing, I think that it would be amazing. But we don't live in a society like that. So, what I do want to say is everyone is fighting their own battles. And I think that us being able to understand one another and understand that the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and understand that like th- my I need to work on me. I need to work on how I'm perceiving everything. I need to work on how I'm improving my life. Where am I on my pyramid and how can I improve to get there? Is buying this top? I just went shopping today, so this feels very like, but genuinely, it's something that I want to start doing with myself because I've been thrifting lately and isn't it cute? Anyway, I've been thrifting lately and I think that I really need to pump the brakes. I go through phases where like I buy a lot of stuff and then I go through phases where I don't. And I just went through a phase where I got rid of a lot of stuff. So now I feel like I want to replace those things. And I think being able to buy things and not instantly want to replace them is probably better than wanting to replace them instantly. But we're all on our own journeys. And so in my journey, I want to kind of be more mindful about the things that I buy and kind of pump the brakes because I think that we have a lot of wants, but wants don't lead to fulfillment. And I remember I was like, if I get a yoga mat, it's going to fix all my problems. If I get this, it's going to fix all my problems. If I come back home with all of this stuff, it's going to fix all my problems. Things don't fix problems, you do. And so I think that it's very important for us to become more aware of why we're consuming and what we need and what we want and how we want to define ourselves against those two things. And so, where do you want to place yourself? What is most important? And to me, I think community is one of the biggest things that is being neglected in our society. And we can't reach any higher until we are able to really care for one another and love one another and be selfless and feel that unconditional love from other people. And just as we are kind of backing off on consumerism, I think we should kind of get back onto community because I think that is a great way to really fill that void in the proper way that it was meant to be filled. Because I genuinely think that consumerism was a placeholder for community in our society. So thank you so much for watching. I'm so happy that you decided to click on this video. I'm going to do a quick come as you are section and just talk about how like I really think that this world is temporary. We're not meant to be here forever. And so it's really important to not get too attached to literally anything. Um, but I think it's great to get attached to people and care about people, healthily attached to people, healthy attachment styles, and care about people and grow communities and connect with one another. I think that's our biggest calling is to have genuine friendships and genuine testimony and genuine like I care about you, like I want people to be able to find that community once again. I think that God is wanting us to connect with one another because he loves each and every one of us and wants us all to be together. And so, yeah, that's that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so happy that you guys clicked on this video and sat with me. I'm really happy that I'm doing this for me, and I feel like this space is really becoming a challenge for me and in a good way, in the way of growth. And yeah, so I'll see you guys next week. Happy Friday.